Good evening to this wonderful tutorial. I'm Aaron, I'm doing the voiceover for this video, and as you see, my wonderful assistant is going through the steps that you need to chop axe. As you saw this there, he's talking about needing steel toe cap boots for chopping axe, because if you miss the wood and hit your foot, you will not lose any toes. And now he's moved on to the stance that you need. You need to be shoulder width apart. This is so if you miss the wood and continue swinging back, you will not hit your shins or it will be painful. And the final thing is him moving on to the actual technique of this thing. You need to hit it at a V shape, changing directions every so often so you can chip away at the wood with ease, as demonstrated right about now by him. You will continue to do this when you finally get through the bit of wood that you need. Just keep going at it. Bit more velocity that he's doing it to get the finer wood. And there you go, there's a tutorial. To store the axe, just put it in end of a log or a stump to keep it safe. Good day. Hello and welcome to me and James putting up a tent. The tent we're doing today is a simple 2-man with 2 layers of tent. As you see James here, he's getting it out of the bag, ready for us to put it up. Now on this specific tent, there's little strings around the tent to keep it together while it's in the bag. Make sure you keep these safe, as you'll need them when bringing the tent down. Once he's got the strings off, we unroll the tent, revealing both layers of the tent, plus the poles and the pegs, which James has hold of now, which he just showed us. On this specific tent, you have to do the inner bit first, put the poles in the inner bit first. In some tents, this is the other way around, where you have to do the outer first. As you see, us laying the inner bit out, so we can see where the poles need to be and where the door is. As we're opening the poles, you just need to remember to make sure all the poles are correct and not broken. In this tent there should be 2 poles, 1 bigger one and 1 smaller one. And as you see here, this is how you open the poles. Making sure they're all clipped in perfectly and nothing will become loose. After we've done that, I laid it down next to the other pole to see which one's the bigger one. And here we are, testing it, see which one's the biggest one. James has the bigger pole, I got the shorter one at the back. And this is how you put it in the hole. You just thread it through the pole holder all the way through until the end, making sure there's equal sides at each end. Once you've done that, you need to clip the end of the poles in these little key things. You put one side in, then you go to the other side, and you have to do a mixture of pushing and bending the pole up. Then you need to find the other peg and then just clip it in, and this will give it its structure, as you see there. Now we've put both poles in this point. We are just about to peg out the tent, making sure it's all tight. So if we start with the back loop, you can peg that in and then we'll be able to stretch it out so it's super tight and won't collapse during the night.
As you can see here, I am holding up the far end of the tent. This is so it makes it easier for Aaron to peg out the back side, and it makes it easier so you can now see how the whole tent looks when it is up. As now we are starting to peg out the front of the tent. Here's a demonstration on how to do it quickly. Put the peg in at an angle into the ground and push down. Don't have it too far into the ground, otherwise you won't be able to get it out at a later date.
As you'll see with this peg, I had trouble getting it into the ground. It's because there was a rock or something underneath, so all we have to do, pull it back out, just angle it differently and then push it back in. And as you see, there's the front. So what we're doing now is getting the outer layer ready for the tent. This is just us finding which side it goes, finding the door on the outer to put in the door of the inner.
As you can see here, we have quite a lot of wind that came along. This can happen when you're putting up a tent, so just make sure that you kept everything you're using at that time in a nice tight area where you know they're not going to blow away, especially the strings and the bag which are the poles and pegs.
To connect the outer bit on this specific tent, there was little strings underneath that we had to tie to the poles, and this is what we're doing here, just tying the string to the pole so the outer bit won't get lifted off if there is a big gust of wind.
In this video today, we'll be learning how to use a knife properly. I'll be showing you how to use a knife by cutting a twig into a arrow form. Now you need a nice leg width apart, and you're cutting aiming down so you're avoiding that you're hit, so you don't hit your legs with knives or with the flying wood. Now you start by holding the knife in one hand, the stick in the other, and just pushing down. Keep doing this for a couple of times while spinning the stick round. This makes sure that all the edges are even and that it gives you a nice sharp point. Now once you start to do it, you'll realise it'll get easier as you go along. Once you get into the motion, you should be able to just keep doing it with ease. Now I'm going to show you how to pass the knife pass the knife successfully. What you do is you hold the blade with one hand and you give them the handle. This is so that when they grab the knife, they have no possibility of cutting their hand. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to learn how to tie a lashing. The lashing we're doing today is a square lashing. This is a very simple lashing that only requires one knot at the end of it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, to start this knot, what I've done, I've put a stick underneath the pioneering poles to keep it elevated so I can easily get the string underneath. Right, the first step, what you need to do, you need to put the piece of rope underneath the first log, keeping it centered in the middle. And then what you do, you bring both the string together and then you go over the first bit of pole, underneath the middle bit, back up over the other pole, and back under the first bit where you started from. Then what you need to do, you need to continuous progress for a couple of rotations through this knot. This is so the knot and the lashing is strong enough to hold any weight that you put on it. After you've done this, you'll need to split the rope in two and then go round the lashings that you just built. These are called frapping turns. In the frapping turns, you'll need to pull the rope really tight so the knot is really strong and will stay safe for you to do whatever you want with it. And as you go around, keep pulling it, make sure it's tight. When you run out of rope and you think you're near the end, all you need to do is tie a simple reef knot, and then there's your lashing done.